Welcome to the Spotlight Omaha podcast. Here is your host, Jimmy Allen.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome inside the Spotlight Omaha podcast. I should say good afternoon, as we got a little bit of a late kickoff here today on a dreary Monday afternoon. I'm your host, Jimmy Allen. Joining me in studio, in the Pyramid Contractor studio today, is Courtney Hinkel with Courtney Ann Photography. We are brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing. Pixel Fire Marketing is a locally owned marketing firm who specializes in website design, creating social media ads, and engaging your business online. If you can benefit from any of that, check out pixelfiremarketing.com today. Like I said, joining me inside the Pyramid Contractor studio today is Courtney Hinkel with Courtney Ann Photography. Courtney, thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
I want to talk about the photography business as a whole right now because it feels like everybody in some way is being affected by inflation or the election coming up at tomorrow. What has your business really seen over the last couple of 6 months that has changed, maybe for the positive or the negative, and how are you being affected by that?
I think families are a little slower to get a jump on their family portraits this year, but there's still time. There's still indoor and outdoor sessions that can be held. It's really just a matter of getting everybody together and taking pictures of that family unit.
What are some of the busier times of the year for you? Is it around now before the holidays?
Definitely. I would say your seniors kick off, as early as May.
Sure.
And go through probably September, October. All those deadlines for high schools are hitting. So seniors that haven't been photographed now are trying to get mad rushing to get their yearbook photos in. Families, you've got fall and you've got Christmas. That's the big time for families. There's definitely a market for spring photos as well, but typically it is August through, I'd say, December.
We've had several photographers that have come in here, and for videographers to wedding photos to GoPro photographers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What is there anything that you don't do as far as pictures go? With like some people hate doing weddings, some people hate
don't do weddings.
Okay, why is that?
Honestly, I stopped doing them after college. I tend to gravitate towards children and newborns and families. Those kids preteen to teen years, they're kind of my jam.
Is that your preference? Is that what you prefer to do?
Yeah, I love following kids all the way through life. So we start with maternity.
That's a good point.
Go all the way through their senior. You get to watch them grow.
Is it like it kind of feels like everybody starts with weddings and it burns them out? For the people that have done photography, is that usually what stops people? Is just days like that?
I think it really totally depends on the person. I like weddings for the artistic side. I don't want to deal with the
Bridezilla.
Yeah,
sure.
And the money aspect of it. I want to be able to go in and make memories, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't want to worry about the extra stuff.
That's an interesting point, and one thing that we've kind of talked about a lot on this show is the majority of people start their business or their company because it's what they love to do, and it kind of most times it starts as a side hustle or something that they look at and say, I can do this. How difficult is it for you personally to separate? Hey, I love doing this aspect of photography, and hey, that check's got to come in after I'm done.
I think you really have to set yourself aside, your creative self aside. I do a lot of education, a lot of networking. I like to learn from other photographers, so I go to different states and conferences. The good thing about that is you're getting the artistic side of it, but you still have to be able to provide what your clients need.
Yeah. The networking portion is really interesting. It's a topic that's come up a lot in this room. You and I met through a networking event. How has networking helped your business?
Oh, I've grown exponentially through networking, mainly because, you become friends with other photographers and maybe they don't have a style that you have, or maybe they don't do newborns, but you do newborns. So we can kind of, piggyback and help each other out and send clients to each particular person that has a certain niche,
Sure.
so to speak.
We asked about like busy time, but if like, is there ever somebody that is in a rush? Like, hey, my kid's going to graduate in 2 weeks, so we need this. What does turnaround usually look like for something like senior photos for you?
For me, it depends. If I'm just needing a yearbook, I just did a couple seniors last week. Their deadline was November 1st. I was photographing on October 30th to get it in.
Wow.
That day.
That's probably a rarity, though, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. And they still will come in and pick out the portraits that they want later. It's just we had to get those done and give them a couple options to to send off to the school real quick.
How much has, like, you've been doing this for 23 years, and I think back to, I think it was about 400 years ago when I was in high school getting my senior pictures done. But has the industry as a whole in that realm changed at all?
Oh, tremendously.
Really? Why?
Nobody orders wallets anymore.
Because it's all on their phone.
It is. Everybody
Sure.
wants Instagram files.
Yeah.
Most photographers, I'm not going to say all because some don't, but most photographers provide a small digital that can be used for online only, or a small print. Not you're not gonna go print a wall print from it, but kids want Instagram. Instagram is what goes.
Sure. And that's an interesting point too, because a lot of what you like, the reason you pay for photos is because of the editing on the back end, right? And making it look professional. How much does like Snapchat and Instagram filters and things like that really affect the way you're able to do your business? Does it change anything?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I mean, you can tell if somebody's over edited through a filter.
Kids, listen to that part again.
Yes, don't over edit your photos. Realistically, I mean, you want to clean up the face a little bit, maybe some stray hairs. But as far as overdoing it, most photographers don't tend to change a person's appearance.
Yeah.
Snapchat changes appearance.
Yeah, you don't actually have dog ears on your head.
Right.
But the technology portion of it's really interesting, right? Because there's obviously more platforms for the photo to appear on. Does that help the business overall?
I can't say it's helped or hurt it either way. I just know that those seniors and even moms, mom wants to share on Facebook.
Yeah, of course.
I'm being told by my teenager that Facebook is for old people and Instagram is for young people. So
that's true, because I don't get
Instagram. You gotta kind of give both. Yeah, I'm learning Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm slow to learn it, but
from a photography standpoint, though, is that something that you try to focus on, is keeping up with technology? And obviously, I think 64 cameras probably have come out since you and I started this conversation, and that's ever changing. How much of keeping up with technology is a part of your day-to-day repertoire?
A lot of it right now is depending on AI. AI is really big. There's even a program that I recently learned about where I can go in and literally change hair color, eye color, background.
Wow.
With the click
Using
of my
AI.
mouse. Yep, using
Okay.
AI. You pay for it, of course. It's not free. It's not a Snapchat filter, but it will do tremendous things in our industry. I don't think it will change photography as a whole because we are still human. We have to be captured.
Yeah.
But as far as like you come in, I photograph you on a white background, you're a business professional or a senior and you're like, hey, I need to have this color of a background for my yearbook or whatever the case may be, a banner for
I need
your
a skyline in the background.
Yeah, you can do just about anything.
Yeah. As far as like time frames, if somebody is looking to book with you, what exactly does that look like, and how quickly can you usually get them on your calendar?
Sometimes it totally depends. Like right now, if it's during the week, it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
Most people book on the weekends. You've got to worry about work schedules, big families. You got to get everybody together. Weekends are a little tougher, sometimes 1 to 2 weeks out, sometimes 3 weeks out, depending on the situation. But weekdays, I can get a newborn in the very next day.
I think a lot of people would look at the newborn category and go, ooh, because sometimes dealing with screaming kids and things like that isn't always the most easy to do. But newborns are usually a little easier than, say, a toddler. Is that the case for you?
Oh no, I'll get down on the floor and crawl around with them.
Sure,
It's fun.
Is that fun for you?
Yeah.
Is that part of what you enjoy to do?
Yeah.
Very cool. What is the biggest hurdle facing the photography industry right now, in your opinion?
It's probably, I would say, cell phones. Even some high school seniors are like, hey, I can just do your senior pictures for you. But the thing is, if you photograph on an iPhone,
You're photographing on an iPhone.
It might look great,
Yeah.
okay, for that time. It's going to look great on social media, but mom can't put a wall print up.
Yeah.
And the real goal is to get those prints in your home so 25 years down the road, someone can look at your wall and watch your family change over time, instead of just seeing on a digital surface where
it only stays in one place.
Yeah, and it honestly gets forgotten.
When you have like different canvas print places like Vistaprint, Easy Canvas Prints, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is that something that you do your own prints? Do you have partners that you work with? How does that portion work?
So I still partner with the photo lab that I worked for in college.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yep, when I was in photography school, I used to hand retouch actual portraits. So I still use them. They're located in Iowa, where I went to school.
You want to give them a free shout out? You can.
It's American Color Imaging.
Okay, all right, there you go.
But it is a professional lab. Now, if I sell, let's say, someone gets a digital file from me and they want to go print an 8x10, I do recommend MPix. It's an online platform, but they use the same printers as a professional lab. So it's better than Walmart, better than Walgreens. May take 2 days versus 1 hour.
Yeah.
But definitely a better product that's going to last longer on your wall. We do have a couple local places springing up. I can get you information on those if you contact me. But
Yeah, there you go.
there is a local lab in Omaha that just started. They print beautiful canvases, absolutely beautiful. I've toured their facility. Professional Photographers of Nebraska actually went and did a meeting there.
Yeah.
Where we got to tour how they did their process and how they build their frames and their canvases. It was really cool.
We're catching up with Courtney Hinkel of Courtney Ann Photography here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing inside the Pyramid Contractor Studio. When you go do events like that, how much of that is a benefit? Is it a benefit for the business, or is it just more of an informative look for you?
It's informative for the photographers, but really it's just a chance for a bunch of us to get together and network.
Yeah.
You've got people who have been in the industry for 40, 50 years. You've got people who have been in the industry for 2 months. It never hurts to connect,
and get more education.
Yeah.
And I think that's been probably the most eye-opening thing for me, because this is episode 194 of this podcast we've done. And I think when my thought when I started this, and I've been a part of networking too, but in networking groups, it's like, hey, you can only have one person from this type of industry and things like that. But the thing that has caught me off guard the most by doing these interviews is how cutthroat business isn't, and how things like this are happening across all industries, whether it be construction, photography, restaurants, whatever. It just seems like everybody has the mentality. Maybe it's unique to Omaha that there's enough work out there for everybody. We can help each other. Is that pretty universal across photography?
I think it's universal. I mean, when I moved here and I started meeting people, they took me in just like one of their own. But when I was in Iowa, it was the same way. We all met up once a month, had coffee, did whatever. I know there's a bunch of ladies here. We get together and we edit at coffee shops. Sometimes it's just nice to have someone in business say, hey, we know what you're going through. We know the deadline you're trying to meet. I've got your back.
Can you do me a favor? Can you slide your microphone just a little bit over the left? I don't know. That way. There you go. We're trying to make sure we can see your face. I apologize. I didn't realize it was taken up.
That's okay.
A lot of photographers have passes to Lanahaws and different unique venues. Is there a favorite place that you have access to that you like to take people to do outdoor or indoor events?
Well, I have a studio. There's a local studio here that is basically like a co-op. A wonderful lady named Kara owns it. It's called Studio 108. There's a lot of photographers that photograph out of there. There's other people, wedding planner, a massage therapist. We all share a space, and I think that's really unique and special to this area. There's a few of them that have popped up also that I've never used, but if I'm indoor, I'm at Studio 108. If I'm outdoor, I would say check out your state parks.
Chalco's amazing, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done Lanahaws. I've never done Mulholland. A lot of places are charging. Here soon, I have
Chalco's free.
Chalco's free, yes. And it's very big, so you can have a lot of photographers. Like I think a couple weekends ago when it was really nice, there were probably like 12 of us out there photographing at the same time.
Take 5 different photos in 5 different areas, and looks like you're not in the same place with a place like Chalco too.
Yeah, you get a good variety.
Yeah. Is there any place? Do you have a favorite place that you've ever shot?
Like in this area?
Doesn't have to be this area, just overall.
Oh, I mean, New York City is my favorite. But.
Sure. I mean, speaking of 5 different venues and 5 different locations, right? What was your favorite thing about New York?
You just have so much architecture, so many cool walls.
History.
I mean, you can use a building in 10 different ways.
When somebody comes to you and they're painting a picture of how they want it to look, how much would you say is you explaining your vision for it versus listening to them and giving them what they're asking for? Is it often a collaboration? How does that work?
I would say it's definitely a collaboration. I don't have, if you listen to the teenagers nowadays, my daughter always talks about aesthetics.
Sure.
I consider myself more of a classic portrait artist. I try to photograph what the person wants.
Yeah.
Not everything I do looks the same, and that works for some people. But I'm a little different in that respect. So, like, for example, when my 1-year-olds come to me and mom says, oh, I want to make 100-acre woods. I want to do a Winnie the Pooh first birthday.
Yeah.
We go all out. We
Very
did,
cool.
The checkered tablecloth, the outdoor background, the balloon, the cake. I mean, you want it to be what they want.
Sure. How much would you say of your work, like percentage-wise, is outdoor versus indoor?
I probably do, I would say 80% indoor and 20% outdoor.
Is that because that's just what the business dictates, or is it just, hey, Omaha gets the extreme of both hot and cold, and it's more of a necessity?
I don't think it's out of necessity necessarily. I think it's because the way I was trained, I use actual photographic lighting.
Hard to get that outside.
No, actually, we do use it outside as well.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
What are the biggest benefits for you doing it indoor versus outdoor?
You
Control?
have a more controlled environment, definitely.
If we're talking about ideal client for you, because we've covered a lot here, we're talking about newborns, 1-year-olds, high school seniors. Who is your ideal client?
I would say anything that with a pulse that's a child.
Sure. Okay.
Anything 0 to 18.
Do you have? You talked about New York. Is there a certain moment in somebody's life that you've captured that you're most proud of by any chance?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I guess what I would say is recently I have started volunteering with an organization called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep.
Okay.
So it's an organization for photographers, and you don't have to be a photographer. We have other things we need help with. But we go into hospitals when a baby passes away, and we capture the last moments with that family. And I think that if I had to pick a time, I would say I have a very good friend who lost a baby earlier this year, and it was my first experience with that organization. And after that, I did sign up to volunteer. But watching her go through probably the hardest thing she'll ever go through in her life, right?
Yeah.
But being able to be that person, giving her a blessing and cherish that, I think that's probably become one of my favorite things.
Yeah, and it's my wife and I have lost 3 pregnancies as well, and it's just so tough. And the fact that there are organizations out there like that is incredible. Sorry, I've lost my next train of thought.
That's okay.
Why was photography your calling? Why do you think it was the thing that you were destined to do?
Well, if you ask my mother,
Sure.
she would say because
She's usually right. So
she
go ahead.
developed more 110 and 35 millimeter film in the 90s than any human being possible. Everywhere I went, I had a camera in my hand. I don't even remember why.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I just think I liked it. Yeah. And then when I went to college, I changed my major like more times than I want to admit.
Yeah.
And then I found out there was a photography program, and I said, okay,
This is always an interesting.
that's what I want to do.
This is always an interesting question. What did you think you wanted to be when you went to college?
I wanted to teach marketing, actually.
Okay.
Yep. I went to school. I competed with DECA. I went to nationals with DECA. I love marketing. And I wanted to be a marketing teacher.
Why was that not the right path for you?
I hated business school.
Yeah, I tell this story all the time. I went to college. I went to junior college with my intention of being a writer, and it took me 2 years of school to realize I hated writing. So I got into audio for that reason. If somebody is out there and they're that little girl or little boy that was carrying a camera around everywhere and they're thinking about becoming a photographer, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to them?
Don't give up, and don't let people tell you that it's dumb.
Sure.
Follow your dream. It doesn't matter what people think. You can be a starving artist and love yourself. You can love your work, but as long as you're happy doing what you're doing, that's the most important thing.
You've mentioned them a couple times. You do have 2 kids. How much do your kids know about what mom does?
Oh, everything.
Yeah.
My son was photographed more times than he can care to
He's
admit.
a model and doesn't know it.
Well, he grew up in photography school. So
Sure.
I took him to school with me, and he'd be photographed 15 times a day by
Different people.
different classes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he do photography at all at this point?
He wants to get into pet photography.
Okay. They
But
talk
I think
less.
that's about it. Yeah. No, he loves dogs.
Is pet photography a thing? I didn't
It
know
is.
that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is that something that feels like that'd be a growing industry?
It is.
correct?
It's actually really popular. It's a really cool industry because you can actually take them, and with, new technology now, you can paint a pet portrait and you can
Sure.
turn it into a complete work of art.
My in-laws just took over or just got a new puppy that they're spending a lot of time with. I'll just put
Yeah.
it that way. So that may be something they're interested in. I may have a client for him. And we're catching up with Courtney Hinkel from Courtney Ann Photography here on the Spotlight Omaha podcast inside the Pyramid Contractors studio. Jump in a time machine with me. Go back 23 years ago. What's something you could tell yourself about the photography business today that you didn't know when you started?
Oh gosh. I started on 2x2 Hasselblad film
In a dark room, right?
in a dark room.
Yeah.
Developed it.
Kids, ask your parents what a dark room was.
Well, ironically, it's coming back.
Okay.
So I honestly think it would be amazing if high schools taught,
Yeah.
old school ways, so to speak.
When I was at Omaha South, and again, I graduated in 06, but we had a dark room that they taught us to cut and print on, stuff like that too. So yeah, and it's a lost art for sure.
It is, but it is coming back. People have started doing it more for fun and more for the art of it than anything else. But
Is there anything about the industry that you haven't learned yet that you'd like to work on or focus on?
oh, there's so many things I haven't learned. I learn
Is there
something new
anything in
every
particular?
single day. No. Okay, I'm not the strongest in business because I love my clients and I kind of treat
Sure.
them as family.
Yeah.
So sometimes I kind of give away too many things. But as far as the actual industry, every time you turn around, there's a new technique, there's a new style, there's a new, niche that you can get into. It's constantly a learning curve.
What is the benefit of hiring a photographer versus taking it on your cell phone?
Well, definitely quality.
Yep.
Composition is different. I mean, when you learn photography, it's not just what you see, it's everything around. It's the whole enchilada, so to speak, the emotion that goes into it that we capture.
If we talked about the biggest hurdle, what are the best benefits of being a photographer? What do you love the most about what you do?
I just love watching my clients grow,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
How much of your business is return business from when you go from maybe a newborn stage to throughout life? Is it a lot?
I'm still photographing seniors in Iowa that I photographed as a newborn back in the day.
That shows
So-
that shows the quality of work and the relationship.
Yeah,
you
it just
build.
kind of depends, really.
Is it difficult for you at any point to separate? You talked about, hey, I treat my clients like family, but there's that client customer
It is
portion
very
versus
difficult.
is it almost impossible because
For me it is.
well, I think it'd be impossible for just about anybody in your line of work because you got to get to know that person and kind of capture who they are and represent them equally, right?
Yeah. I mean, you have some people that you are going to be closer with, people that you meet more or you see more.
Yeah.
But I mean, I care about my families that I only see once a year just as much as I do, the families I see 5 times a year.
You told me you hate marketing, but
no.
how much would you like to get into the business realm and do like corporate photos and things like that?
I've done corporate headshots. I do a lot of pageant headshots, actually.
Really? How did you get into that?
So my daughter, my 16-year-old, she was a national title holder. She's
Very
competed
cool.
since she was itty bitty.
Her name is
Paige.
Shout out to Paige in case she's listening.
She has pretty much modeled all over.
Yeah.
For different photographers, different fashion shows, different things. But
Okay, I can't help but notice you're not lighting up the way you did when you're talking about newborn photography. Is that just because you spent so much time in doing it?
no, I mean, I like it all. I don't know.
Okay, yeah, sure. No, that's it. Some people are just passionate about some things, and some people
Yeah.
like, hey, it's the job.
Yeah.
If somebody's thinking about starting their own business, and you said it, sometimes you have to do the starving artist act to do this. What piece of advice would you give to an entrepreneur that maybe they're looking to be a chef or starting their own business somewhere else that's not photography? What piece of advice would you give to that person?
I would say definitely know your market, know your numbers, and I would say have a backup. Have a
Do you want to tell us who's calling?
no.
Okay.
It's probably a client.
Sure.
Know your industry because you're going to have slow times, you're going to have busy times, and just make sure you're prepared for the slow times.
What's the most difficult part for you when it is slow? Is it the hurry up and wait portion of it? Is it just wondering if the downturn's ever going to turn up?
I think it's just missing the people. Like I just miss being active and being in the studio, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that brings up an interesting point because we're obviously coming off one of the most unique times in human history during the COVID-19 pandemic. What was there anything that you learned during the pandemic that you took out of that time and made portable till now that helps the business?
Gosh, not really.
Okay.
Not for me. I mean, during that time I had taken a little break and I was working in the corporate world.
Sure.
But I worked from home always. I missed the people always.
Yeah.
But I was kind of
Was
stuck.
you mentioned that you were in a different realm of time, but was that because of the pandemic or was it just
No,
okay?
when I moved to Nebraska, I didn't know very many people.
Yeah.
So, you can't starve an artist forever.
Sure, yeah. The artist still's got to eat.
So you had to have the full-time job to
Yeah.
get the side hustle going back up.
A lot of what we talk about in this room is fear. and the reason not to do something. And there's always a reason not to start your own business. What was the catalyst for you to go, okay, I've got to get out of corporate America and I've got to focus on doing this?
I think it was when my daughter looked at me and said, Mom, go back to photography. I'm tired of seeing you not be happy.
Sure.
And I knew I was not happy, but I didn't realize I was that unhappy. What?
Difficult for you to hear?
No, it's kind of the kick in the rear end.
You needed somebody to tell you?
Yeah.
You knew, you just needed the confirmation?
Hey, you look miserable.
Yeah. Sure. And was there a big reason for you not? I mean, obviously you've got kids. That's always a big reason. But was there a big reason for you to pump the brakes and hold off for a little bit? Or was it just, hey, we're diving into this full head?
When I moved here from Iowa, I literally moved here and I knew nobody. Mm-hmm. I moved here for work, and it was kind of one of those things. I was like, okay, I don't know anybody to get started. I'll have to start slow on social media because that's how everybody starts,
that's
right?
right?
Social media, got to get it out there.
We appreciate everybody listening on social media right
now. But it just started really slow, and then you kind of get in a groove. You know what you want to do, but you
start meeting the right people too.
Right, but you have that fear, like, oh gosh, what's going to happen? Like, what if I do jump?
Yeah.
What if I fail?
Sure.
What if I don't?
What is the biggest, I guess, blessing might be the best word from social media? Is there anything that came to you through social media where you're like, okay, this can help the business?
I think the biggest blessing through social media is probably that you realize who your real true supporters are. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Costs $0 to support local businesses, folks.
Right. Some of my friends aren't even my clients.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friends who literally can't afford what I do.
Sure.
But
they
still support me.
Yeah.
And if there's ever a chance to give back, I give back to them too.
If people would like to book a session with you, how can they reach you?
At Courtney Ann Nebraska on Facebook or Instagram.
And we tagged Courtney Ann Photography in both of the social media postings today, too. So you can click on a link there and head over and book a session with Courtney. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm glad we could finally get it in.
Thanks for having me.
Check out Courtney Ann Photography at the links that we just mentioned and book a session coming up. Oh, sorry. We do have one question. Somebody wants to know if you could shoot the OPPD arbitrarium.
Always.
Okay, well, there you go. That answers that question. If you have any other questions, shoot those directly to Courtney. Thank you to everybody who liked the video and hung out with us today. We'll be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. talking to a new nonprofit in Omaha. We're trying to raise donations for winter coats for the youth of Omaha in the Omaha area. Hopefully you can join us tomorrow to learn about Project Assist at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll see you then.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at pyramidroof.com. Never settle for less.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.